Ancient Chinese people placed their dead in wooden coffins carved from a single tree. These coffins were then suspended from sheer cliff faces hundreds of meters in the air. These burial monuments would usually contain the body in several layers of clothing, along with a few personal ornaments. Hanging coffins are a unique ancient Chinese funerary custom that likely began in the 8th century. The most famous hanging coffins were left behind by the Bo and Guyue people, who are thought to have died out about 400 years ago, taking with them the secrets of their burial tradition. The Bo people were an ethnic minority people living astride the borders of modern-day Sichuan and Yunnan provinces. There they created a brilliant culture as early as 3,000 years ago. Apparently the Bo people differed from other ethnic groups in their burial customs. The hanging coffins have been found in lots of different shapes and sizes, but most of them are notable for having been crafted from a single piece of wood, many originally with bronze covers, and they were not painted. They either lie on beams that have been driven into the side of the cliff, were placed on projecting outcrops of rock, or were hidden in high up, seemingly inaccessible caves. The lowest coffins hang about 10 meters in the air while the highest are up around 130 meters. They were first used for burials in the Wuyi Mountains during Zhou dynasty that lasted from 1027 to 777, and the most recent are found in Gongxian County, and date to the disappearance of the Bo people around 400 years ago, ending a funerary tradition that had lasted for thousands of years. It was the Guyue people who made some of the earliest hanging coffins, dating to around 2,500 years ago in the time of the Warring State period. These earliest examples were put in caves that had formed in the smooth cliff faces of the Fairy Water Rocks, in the area of the Dragon Tiger Mountain. Most of these burials are to be found hanging between 20 and 50 meters above the Luxai River, with some of them being as high up as 300 meters. Nobody even knew these burials were there until 1978, as the cliff face was too smooth to be climbed and they could not be seen from the ground. It wasn't until archaeologists started to explore the cliffs and excavate in the caves that these unique coffins came to light. Many interesting artifacts were also found in and around the burials, such as pottery, musical instruments and ornaments carved from jade. All of these coffins were crafted from a very large, single piece of Nanmu wood, which is a wood very like cedar and is often used in furniture production in the region. There was a great deal of variation in the sizes and shapes of the caskets. Some contain multiple interments, while others contain a single body. A popular shape was that of a ship or boat, which is thought to reflect the dependence these people had on using ships as a means of transport and undertaking commerce. They also found coffins shaped like the roof of a house and dugout canoes, as well as the more familiar rectangular-shaped ones. Another mystery which has not been solved satisfactorily is how the Bo people managed to suspend the coffins from the mountainside. The method they used has been hotly debated by scholars, as some think that the coffins were lowered from the top of the cliffs by ropes, others believe that wooden stakes were driven into the cliff face, so they could climb up, and others believe that they constructed earth ramps at the base of the cliffs which they could then drag the coffins up. The creation of earth ramps argument doesn't really stack up, as shifting that much dirt would have required a lot of labor, and this was a sparsely populated part of China at that time. In addition, no evidence has been found of such constructions. Likewise, there is no evidence for the timber climbing posts or scaffold method, as not a single post hole has yet been found in any of the hillsides. The only method where there is evidence for is lowering the coffins over the side, as some of the coffins have marks that show where the ropes rubbed as they were being hung. How the Guyue people placed their coffins onto the rocky outcrops of Dragon Tiger Mountain is a bigger mystery, as it would have been very dangerous to try to reach them either carrying or lowering something as heavy as a wooden casket containing a human body. It is still whispered that these people had supernatural powers at their disposal and used magic to create their high burials. There is also a legend that a great treasure is still waiting to be found in the difficult-to-reach caverns where they made some of their burials. The reasons for the hanging coffins of the Bo people are unknown, because no Bo people are left. But it may simply be to prevent the dead from being disturbed. Being buried at a great height might also have symbolized being nearer to the gods, placing the occupant of the coffin closer to the heavens. Also, the Bo people lived through some troubled times, enduring years of wars, unrest, crop failures, and natural disasters. So maybe they craved peace and tranquility in the afterlife, and looked forward to spending eternity surrounded by the beauty of nature. The Guyue people had slightly different beliefs. As to them, the mountains were sacred and they had a deep reverence for high places. A more practical reason that has been put forward is that the higher the coffins could be suspended, then the less likely they were to be broken apart and scavenged by wild animals. The mysteries of the hanging coffins and what caused the disappearance of the Bo people may never be fully understood. But hopefully, as the renovation work and new archaeological excavation is undertaken, a clearer picture should emerge of this ancient funeral tradition and the culture, way of life and beliefs of these ancient people.